العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
Number 7 or 8. Number 7 or 8. There are certain things that a person doesn't require an intention for. There are certain actions that a person doesn't need to have the intention for. The first one is at-turuq, things that are to be left out or things that are to be removed. مثلا الآن removing dirt from your garments, the garment that you're, the clothing that you're praying with. To remove dirt is from the matrukat. It's something that we're meant to leave out, and it's something we're meant to, obviously, when praying, you're meant to remove the dirt. For removing that dirt, you don't have to have an intention. So from the example that the scholars mention is, مثلا, if there's urine on your thobe, مثلا, if there's urine on your thobe or on your hijab, and then you go to the masjid. So while you walk into the masjid, it's raining and there's puddles everywhere. By the time you get to the masjid, your thobe or your garment is wet. Your garment is wet. In this case, you find that the urine has disappeared, it's gone. You find that the urine has gone. You can carry on praying with that garment or that hijab or that khamis, the thobe, and it doesn't require the intention, because the requirement, the need was that the filth or the dirt is removed, regardless of a person having a niyyah or not. Regardless of a person having a niyyah or not. Likewise, from the things that the scholars say that don't require intention is ibadat that can never become a adah. The types of ibadat that can never become a customary act or an act of adah. For example, al-tawakkul, al-khawf, these sorts of actions, the actions of the heart, do not require intention. Also, qira'atul Quran. Qira'atul Quran. Because when you're reading the Quran, sahih, you could do it for someone else's sake. Like more often than not, when a person is reading the Quran, they're doing it, it doesn't become other than an ibadah. When you're reading the Quran, it's always going to be an ibadah. When you're fearing Allah Jalla wa Ala, or when you're having tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you're relying upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is always going to be an ibadah. And so there's no possibility of it being intertangled with something or a different type of ibadah. Like, also from the issues that the scholars mention is those actions that the benefit goes over to other people. It goes from not only oneself, like it goes, the benefit reaches other people. The benefit reaches. مثلا, if a person plants a seed, plants a tree, and then someone benefits from that tree 10 years later, 2 years later, 5 months later, or that seed 5 months later, and so on, then the person will be rewarded for every person that takes advantage of that tree or that seed that a person has planted. Likewise, building a masjid or building a markaz or center. So your intention is to build the masjid. Your intention is not specifically so that people can come and study and sit down and read memorize Quran and so on. Lakin, for every person that comes and memorizes the Quran, or there's a madrasa going on, or any Islamic lessons, the person will be rewarded, meaning the person that built the masjid, without requiring any intention. Right. Also, things to do with the wajibat that are more inclined towards the rights of the Bani Adam, more inclined towards the rights of, or the right of the creation is greater than the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in it. So, مثلا, a person providing for his family, it is wajib shar'an, it is wajib. Lakin, it is, which means obviously it would have to have, because it is wajib, technically you would have to have a niyyah for it. Lakin, because the right of the creation is greater in this sense that you're providing for your family, then a person doesn't have to have the intention for it, for him to be rewarded. Likewise, returning the amanat, returning things that are repaying debts and so on. Right. The next mas'alah the next mas'ala. Things that nullify the niyyah. Things that nullify the intention. The first one is a ridda, apostating wal-'iyadhu billah. If a person leaves Islam, then his actions and his niyyah is nullified. والدليل قوله تعالى ولقد أوحي إليك وإلى الذين من قبلك لئن أشركت ليحبطن عملك ولتكونن من الخاسرين. So verily it has been revealed to you and those before you that were you to commit shirk, then all of your actions would be null and void, and you would be surely amongst the losers. Right. Also, from the things that nullify a person's niyyah is if a person intends to break it or intends to cut it off. So if a person is praying and they have the intention to cut it off, or if a person is praying, performing wudu and they have the intention to cut it off, or they're fasting, they have the intention to end it, then their fasting also ends there. Right. Any questions up to here? There's only two more principles left. Oh, there's two principles that I want to take, that I want us to take, which come under this main principle. Now, so there's a question regarding the Hajj. You said we need to specify the niyyah verbally regarding what type of Hajj we're doing, saying labbaik Allahumma Hajj and so on. What would be the response to the one who asked, why do you need to specify it verbally when you can do it internally, i.e. in your heart? We have to specify it because that's what the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. That's what the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam legislated. Like, now, the last point, now, things that don't require an intention. Things that don't require an intention. So, mathalan, we said all of the actions or the condition is, the Shaykh says, rahmatullah, وَالنِّيَّةُ شَرْطٌ لِسَائِرِ الْعَمَلِ بِهَا الصَّلَاحُ وَالْفَسَادُ. An intention is a prerequisite for all actions. Sah? That is general. So every single action comes under this principle. Right. Lakin there are certain actions, certain deeds, certain things that if a person does, or certain actions that do not require a niyyah, مثلا, we know from the conditions of salah is at-tahara. The conditions of salah is at-tahara, making wudu or ghusl. If a person wants to perform ghusl, they need to have what? They need to have the intention. If they want to meet that condition and pray, they need to have the intention of making wudu, then make wudu. So once they make wudu, they're intending to make wudu. That's the only way their wudu will be corrected. Because if a person goes into a bath and comes out, then that won't be accepted as wudu. Right. Also, one of the other conditions of salah is removing dirt from the place of prayer, from the garments that you're praying in, and your body. طيب. If mathalan, for example, if there's dirt on mathalan your garment or on your hand, and then you intend to pray, like you find you're walking to the masjid mathalan, or someone throws water at you or spills water at you, and the dirt is removed, then you can pray in that garment. You won't say, I need to have the intention that the urine was going to be removed. You don't have to say, or you won't need to say, I need to wash it again because I didn't have the intention of removing the dirt. Right. I hope that kind of explains it. And then obviously the second point was tawakkul and khashya. They will only be ibadat. These actions of the heart can only be ibadat. So you won't require an intention for it. Right. Right. The one of Bani Adam, mathalan, the haqq of Bani Adam, the last one we mentioned, is a man, the husband providing for his wife, is wajib upon him. Right. since he's provided for his wife, if he does provide for his wife, he has fulfilled the wajib. But when fulfilling that wajib, he doesn't have to have the niyyah. So he can provide for her, and he may necessarily not be rewarded, but he won't be punished for it. So he doesn't have to have an intention. Lakin, why is that? Because the right of this Bani Adam is greater than the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this specific act. Likewise, returning a debt. مثلا, someone lends you £1,000 and you want to return that £1,000. For you returning that £1,000, you don't need an intention. You don't need an intention. Like if you're having, if you're going to have the correct intention of giving it back to this person and so on, and fulfilling the amana, the trust that has been given to you, then it can be ibadah. Like technically or initially, you won't have to have ibadah, you won't have to have the intention of returning this item back. Now, you mentioned that the person who intends on breaking their fast will be broken. So, is this the same if the ibadah is a sunnah fast or a wajib fast? No, it's the same whether it's a sunnah fast or wajib fast. Just like it's the same for if it's an act which is wajib, such as dhuhr, a salah which is wajib, such as dhuhr, or a salah which is sunnah, such as tahiyyatul masjid. Lakin there's a difference between having taraddud, being caught between two minds on whether to break it or not, and actually intending to break it. So, مثلا, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, when he prayed with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed with Baqarah, Al-Imran and Nisa, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, I intended, I believe it was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, na'am. Another time the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Ibn Abbas prayed with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like specifically, I believe it was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, na'am, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. He said he intended that because of the length of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam's prayer, he intended, or he was stuck between two minds. وَلَقَدْ هَمَمْتُ. He intended, or he not intended. He thought about and he considered actually leaving the salah, or leaving the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and going to rest. But that did not affect the salah of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. So you should see on the screen now. Al-a'malu bin-niyat is the main principle. It is a principle from Qawaa'id al-Kubra. With a lot of these principles, especially the 5 major principles, there are Qawaa'id that also come underneath this specific qa'idah. Sometimes they specify the qa'idah, where the qa'idah is general, it specifies it, these principles that come underneath it specify it, or sometimes the qa'idah is unrestricted, and then you get a specific small qa'idah or short qa'idah which restricts the movement of or the practice of the main qa'idah. So this qa'idah, al-a'malu bin-niyat, there is a qa'idah which is similar to it, which is called al-ibratu fi al-uqudi bil-maqasidi wal-mabani la bil-alfazi wal-mabani. So al-ibratu, what is taken into consideration fi al-uqudi, when it comes to transactions and dealings, bil-maqasidi is the intention and the meaning of the aqd or the contract. La bil-alfazi wal-mabani, and not specifically the wording that is used or the structure of the wording that is used or the structure of the sentence that is used. Now, مثلا الآن, if a person says, so مثلا a hiba is when you give someone a gift. مثلا a hiba is a gift. when you give a present or a gift to someone. So if a person, and we know a bay' is what? Bay' is when you sell something to someone, or when you buy something from someone, an item from someone. Right. And they're two different contracts. That's why there's hiba is discussed individually in the books of fiqh, and buyu' is discussed differently or separately. Right. If a person says, مثلا, if a person says, وهبتك هذه السيارة ب20,000. I have gifted you this car. I have gifted you this car for 20, مثلا, I've given you this car for £20,000. I've gifted you this car for £20,000. It's a gift. Take it and just give me £20,000. Is this a gift or is it bay'? Is it a gift or is it a bay'? Is it a gift or is it a bay'? Why are we saying is it a gift and is it a bay'? Because it looks like a hiba, because you're saying the wording that you used is what? The wording that you used is a hiba, it's a gift. Lakin when you look at the meaning and the intention of what you're what you've used or that transaction, it is buying, it is bay'. You've sold a car to him for 20,000. So what do we use, or what do we take? What takes precedence? The maqasid and the ma'ani take precedence. For example, so now in this specific case, it would be what? It would be bay'. You've sold this person this car for 20,000, and it won't be. Mathalan, it won't be. You can't say. Or he can't say you've gifted me this car, because you've said I've gifted you this car for 20,000. There's a difference between the wording that you used and the actual contract that you've agreed with, or the actual dealing that you've had with this person, or what you've said to this person. Which takes precedence, or which one do we give the precedence to? The scholars say that the maqasid and the ma'ani take precedence. La bil al-fadhi wal ma'ani. So that is the same as the main principle. So it's a qa'idah that comes underneath it, lakin it's specific to uqood, dealings, transactions, and so on. مثلا الآن نكاح. طيب. النكاح, the scholars say there's a type of nikah, this النية بالطلاق, والنكاح بالنية الطلاق. النكاح بالنية الطلاق, where a person does a nikah, marries a woman, lakin with the intention of talaq. La, it is not mut'a, it is different to mut'a that the Shia practice. Lakin the aqda is that a person, the nikah is sahih, the shuhud, the wali, everything, the nikah is sahih. Lakin this person has the intention of, divorcing this woman after mathalan a certain number of months. So some people, what they do, billah, they go on holiday and they know they're only going to spend about 3 months in this specific location. They marry a woman and then they say, the nikah is sahih, lakin they say, or the shuhud of nikah afwan, lakin after a period of time, they intend to divorce her. So it is different to mut'a in the sense that mut'a has a certain cut-off point, certain limit. Like, if you look at the wordings or the mabani that are used for this nikah, then it is sahih. When you look at the fact that there's the wali, there's the shuhud, there's the witnesses, there's the person that's the bride and the groom. So we've got all of the arkan, and they're both pleased with one another. There's rida. So when you look at the aqd as it is itself, then it's correct. Lakin, the intention of this person is what? To divorce this woman after a certain period of time. That aqd becomes fasid. The aqd becomes fasid, and it is not permissible to marry her under these circumstances. Therefore, what have we taken into consideration? The maqsad and the niyyah. We've taken the intention of this person into consideration, and we've now said that your nikah is invalid. Even though suriyan, when you look at the overall picture, it seems correct. Like because of the niyyah, then the salah, then the nikah is invalid. Right. Then there's something which is called al-istithna'at min al-qa'ida, or exemptions from a specific qa'ida. Exemptions from a specific qa'ida. Right. From these qawaa'id that come under this principle is man ista'jala shay'a or man ista'jala shay'an uqiba bihirmanihi. Man ista'jala shay'an qabla awanihi. نعم. So مثلا من استعجل شيئا أو من استعجل شيئا قبل أوانه عوقب بحرمانه. A person who rushes something before its correct time, then he is punished with not being able to benefit from it. مثلا, the examples that the scholars mention is a person who is a child will automatically inherit his father. A son or a daughter, a child will inherit their father. So if a son, a son kills his father in order to inherit him, their intention is what? The intention is for them to inherit their father quickly. So their father, has been ill for a long time, and they decide to poison him, wal-'iyadhu billah. So in order for him to gain or get the inheritance. So he kills his father in order to get the inheritance. He was entitled to the inheritance, lakin he rushed his entitlement. Now, obviously by using haram means. Because he rushed what he was initially entitled to, عوقب بحرمانه. Because of his intention, this now becomes haram. Now he won't be given his inheritance. لا يرث القاتل, as the Messenger ﷺ, the one that kills will not inherit the one that he has killed. So again, we see that this qa'idah implements his intention, or his intention. Because of his intention, he is punished due to his intention, due to his evil intention. Right. So again, these are two principles that come underneath this qa'idah, or the main qa'idah being al-a'malu bin-niyat, and then this al-'ibratu fi al-uqud bil-maqasid wal-ma'ani, man ista'jala shay'an qabla awanihi uqiba bihirmanihi. Right. Uqiba bihirmanihi. We'll stop there, inshallah, and carry on next week from the next set of principles, starting from number 12.